Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the Make Startups podcast. I am your host today, Eric Parker, and today I have with me Dr. Aanu Gopald. She is she's a serial entrepreneur with so many businesses. When I took a look at her LinkedIn profile, I was shocked to see that Africa Agility, which is what I was here to talk to her about, is like way down on the list. But anyway, you are the founder of the Africa Agility Foundation, which is a nonprofit social impact organization. And from what I can see, you're supporting entrepreneurs in 52 plus countries, and you've
Yeah.
supported over 170,000 people just in this decade. So it's been a privilege. Honestly, I've gotten to know you over the last year or so, and being able to work with you and support your programs. I'm really curious. I love this question with serial founders. Tell me about your first business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here, Eric. It's a pleasure. And my first business was actually Anybit, which is like a gaming platform the um for the audiences of the Price is Right TV show Nigeria to be able to play games and win numerous prizes like cars, TVs, any big electronic equipment. So it was launched in 2024 and it's been an exciting journey since then.
That's awesome. Yeah. So tell me about Africa Agility Foundation. How did this come about?
Africa Agility was birthed from a need, from a passion, and from my experience. So I remembered when I was in college, I was in university, I studied from one of the prestigious university in Africa, and I studied computer science. But throughout my 4 years in the university, I never saw computer. Everything I was taught was theory and old programming languages like Pascal, Fortran, COBOL. I remember those three out of so many other old programming languages. And, even after graduation, it was very difficult looking for a job because they were looking for experience, which I don't have. And when I finally thought I had a job, which was my final interview, I was interviewed by four men in one, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, in Nigeria, and they told me, you know what, if you want this job, you have to sleep with us. And I'm like, what? Bugger off. That's not me. So I didn't get the job because I did not fulfill what they were asking for. But I'm so blessed in the sense that, I could easily relocate to UK. I'm privileged. Let me put it that way. I could easily relocate to UK, which is not the story and opportunities of so many young women in Africa. And that was a tipping point for me. And I made up my mind and I said, one day when I grow up, I'm going to start Africa Agility, focusing on developing young women in technology skills and helping them to secure a job without having to sacrifice their body to be able to find a job. So 5 years ago, I was with some young developers in Africa, and they were talking about the challenges that African women still face, in securing a job, not just technology job, any job. And, I just remembered, the promise I made to myself many years ago that when I grow up, I'm going to do this. And that was the birth of Africa Agility. And it has been a fantastic journey,
Wow.
since then.
Yeah. I mean, the experience you had, how commonplace is that?
My experience is so common. It's still happening, despite the fact that the world has changed. Africa is changing as well as a continent, but it's still country filled with these issues and circumstances. And I would say maybe 70-80% of young women are still facing this. And this is not even a young women problem. Men are also going through similar situation as well. And because of the poverty in the country, people will do anything to find a job
Right. Yeah.
because they have no choice.
Well, I would imagine after training over 170,000 people, you've probably helped move the needle on that. So, tell us about some of your programs and the success around them.
Yeah, so when we started Africa Agility, we started with Girls in Tech in Lagos, Nigeria, and that was when NSAS happened. and police brutality against youth, both male and female in Nigeria. And since then, based on the feedback and the request of young women, we decided to bring it virtually instead of just a particular city in a country. Um, then we decided to bring it virtually so that we can provide opportunities to young women across Africa. So we have different programs like African Girls in Tech, which is a 12-month program, um, where we teach young women with technology skills from product management, scrum mastery, back-end, front-end engineering, data science, data analytics, um, software engineering, AI, machine learning, branding and marketing, and different tech skills, which is a 4-month intensive tech training with 1 week hackathon challenge at the end of the 4-month training, where they solve African pressing issues. Even I won't use the word African, the word pressing issues in alignment with SDG goals. We usually select 9 SDG goals. And after the African Girls in Tech 4-month training, they go into 2-month mentorship. And after the 2-month mentorship with industry experts in, building their portfolio, getting them job ready, then they will now move into 6-month internship. We have, business partners across the world that provide internship opportunities or junior level roles for these young women. And also at the same time, we build IAHA, which is a recruitment platform for them to be able to find jobs remotely as well, or even, physical job that they have to go to. Then from Africa Girls in Tech, we move into Incubator, which is a 6-month program for early stage female startup in helping them to turn their business idea into a successful startup. And also we provide, mentoring workshops, even post the 6-month training. We also have Upscaler for young women that are already in tech skills, but they want to advance themselves and improve their skills. Upscaler is a 4-month program. Agility is also something that is very important to me. Thinking about my experience, going through computer science degree, and I never saw computer in the in my entire 4 years until my brother ended up buying one for me, or I saw it on TV, but I didn't see real life and I didn't use it as well. So Edugility is all about how do we bring 21st century skills into our educational system in Africa. And we started from middle to high school, teaching them soft skills, creating awareness of tech. Because in Africa, although things are changing, people always think that, oh, tech is just meant for men. We should just go and become a lawyer or go and do accounting or go and do business administration or stuff like that. So another program that we have also is period poverty. We call it period power. So period poverty is all about how do we help young girls go back to school, or how do we help young girls ensure that the 5 days of their period, they are not missing schools. It's a big issue in Africa. Most young girls, don't go to school during that period because they can't afford to buy a pad. And there's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of bullying, there's a lot of issues surrounding that. And this initiative actually came from our community initiative program, where one of our young women, Katie, in Malawi, spoke about her experiences, how she was bullied, how she was stigmatized, how some of her friends actually, killed themselves, they committed suicide because of period poverty. And when I hear things like that, I'm like, oh my God, I need to do something about it. I can't save the world, but whatever I could do. So we started Period Poverty Initiative in May last year, and we have impacted 3 different countries by distributing reusable sanitary pads to young women in about, I think, 6 secondary school, middle school, and yeah, about 6 middle school. And we also taught them hygiene, how to take care of yourself when you are in your period, and your health, and also personal agility and personal hygiene as well. So yeah, in summary, that's everything that we do at Africa Agility.
Wow. Um, that's so impressive. Like, excuse me, in all honesty, that I am the whole time you were talking, because we got to know you through the Incubate Her program,
Yeah.
and seeing the stories of them was amazing. But when you begin to look at the scale and the reach of what you're
Mm,
doing, because you're also, it's not even just the countries across Africa, right? You've got the diaspora community as
yeah.
well. So you're doing work here in the United States, and I'm assuming other places. How like how do you realistically handle operations of all this at this scale and continue to be able to drive impact at that local level?
Well, it's been tough. It's been hard. When you look at holistic operations, the biggest challenge that we have is funding. Um, Africa Agility has always been 99% self-funded by myself and my husband. And we're happy to do that because when you hear the stories of young women, how you touch the life of a young woman, and that has changed a community or a life of one girl, of the entire family. When you have young women, even when we are exhausted and we are like, oh my God, we don't want to do this again, where will the next funding come from? And you receive a phone call, say, from one of the girls saying, Auntie, thank you so much. You can't imagine what you have done for me and my family. Every night I have to be on the streets, hawking my body, sleeping with different men to bring money back to the table so that my family can even have one or two course meal a day. My younger ones can go to school. It's really been so tough on her and our entire family. And even being, picked up by a guy, gang raped, pushed out, going back home, trekking without bringing money to the table for the family to eat. It's really challenging and it's really tough. But now I got a job. I can feed my family. We can eat three-course meal. My younger ones can go back to school. it's it's defined my calling, right? And not just one young girl. Everyone have testimonies, especially the young women from Sudan. It's been 30 years of war. They've been separated from their family. Lots of raping happened to them. Some of them even missing sessions because they are looking for where they're going to find the next internet. But answering your questions, Africa Agility has been successful because of the team. And the good news is a lot of our alumni are coming back to support, not financially, but giving their time to give back to the girls. If you look at my team operations right now, I would say 90% are Africa Agility alumni, those that have passion in giving back and also in doing transforming lives. It's not a free job, it's a paid job, right? They are getting paid to do that. So they have passion in human capacity development and they understand the pain, they understand the challenges. They've already passed through the program as well, years ago. So, when you look at everyone leading each initiative, they are our Africa Agility alumni. Then we also have ambassadors from different countries supporting us in, people that understand the local context, people that have relationship with universities, with different NGO communities, supporting initiatives, supporting our initiatives from their country as well, helping the operations of the organization to move forward. And also, we use technology because, in order to be very successful, you need to use technology for your operations. And for all our programs, we've used the Make Startup co-founders platform as well for our incubator. Thanks to you because, you supported us and gave it to us for free to use for the last incubator program that we did. So the collection of people that believe in the vision, helping to move the needles forward locally in Nigeria and across different continents, using technology to enable operations has really, really been very helpful. And also partnering with NGOs in different African countries also help our operations to be successful because we are not in that countries, and even and we are not in those countries. We don't understand how things work in some countries, but partnering with NGOs that our mission aligns and also doing exactly what we're doing really help us to be successful in everything that we do.
Yeah. Well, I know when we were having our conversations, I felt really like we had no other choice but to support in
Mm.
whatever way we could when you realize that entrepreneurship creates a pathway for somebody to sell something that's not their
Yeah.
body in order to support
Mhm.
their family. I don't think I had ever thought about entrepreneurship in that context before. And I don't necessarily want to dwell there because I think what you're doing is in essence fixing that problem. And sometimes when we spend too much of our energy focusing on like, oh, well, here's all the struggles that everybody has, then
Mm.
then we don't highlight the solutions and the successes in the way that we should. But I am curious because I've also dealt with leading an entrepreneur support organization for years with founders that had committed suicide or went through some other challenges in their life. And so what is it that how are you able to keep that sort of like positivity around your mission when you see the hardships that people are going through in the communities?
I think it's the art shape that keeps me moving and get me moving and get my team moving as well. Because without them, everything that we are doing will not be successful. They are actually the engine moving the needle forward. Um, I'm from Nigeria. I'm privileged to live in the US now. But I'm from Nigeria. I grew up seeing people in poverty, and my dad especially is a man of positivity in every challenges, in every evil. I will use the word evil. It may sound too harsh, but ah, that's that's the best way I could describe it. He always find opportunities. How my dad, my parents taught us to help people, to show mercy to people, and that's the meaning of my name. Anu means mercy in English. So I grew up seeing different people with different needs coming to my house. My house is like a community where you don't need to be related to us, right? So far you have a need, the door of my home is open to you. That's what I saw growing up. And I also emulate, that positivity, that kindness from my parents. So, with that, and also seeing lives being transformed, seeing the legacy that has been built over the last 5 years, changing the world, changing the lives of people, the family, the community, brings so much joy and excitement to me. We have another cohort starting February 2nd. That's for the ladies interested in technology, African girls in tech. We selected over 3,500 young women. And if you ask me today, where is the funding to be able to change the lives of those 3,500? I don't know where that is coming from. But one thing I know is my faith, my belief, my trust in God would bring the funding, and we're going to bring it to the end. It's going to happen regardless, right? We are planning, we are doing everything that we can do to ensure that it's successful. So, you know, the the heart of giving really usually bring blessings. I don't know I don't know how it happens, but I just know it happens. So, you know,
I have to attest after doing the work that we do for years that
mm,
it does create a certain sense of faith in
mm,
the world and in higher powers and whatnot because I just there's been so many times where I don't know how this is going to come together and so many times frankly where I want to quit because it's just like this is just too hard, it's too hard, but you're called to it, and then at the 11th hour something will come through. And but I
Mm-hmm.
imagine, so you're talking this one program is 3,500 people, you said?
3,500, yeah, 3,500 young women from 36 countries.
Yeah. And so once you factor in families, this is, probably 10,000 people that will be able to have, you know, a life and food and all those
Yeah,
things. So
yeah.
that's astounding. It truly, truly is. Well, so one other part though, because I think um, here in America, I don't think that we have a lot of visibility about what's going on in Africa, and we probably tend to think of Africa just as a monolith. So, what is like if you were to look across the continent as a whole, but then start to highlight what are the differences in different ecosystems and how they're shaping up?
Yeah, so one oh, okay. So when you think of Africa, right? Africa has the youngest population in the world and one of the fastest growing data economy. Um the difference between, because I've lived in both world and I've also lived in UK as well, is the system, right? There's structure system in developed countries. So let me just use the word developed countries as a whole, right? That the government has created. Even if you don't have a job, right? There's government will give you money. For an example now, if you have mortgage, right, and you you lose your job, there's always programs to cover you for a short period of time. And even there are still so many jobs in developed countries compared to Africa. Um, in Africa, we believe so much in education, especially in the Western world. Where I came from, you need to have a master degree or even a postgraduate, or PhD, and so that's where I came from. We believe so much in education, but after education, there's no job. There is no job. Like there's even no cleaning job for a master degree student with a first class.
Wow.
That is how bad it is. There
Yeah.
is no cleaning job, even if it's just to clean the street. I want to clean the street. So there's high level of unemployment. So people live to survive, and people will do any job that comes their way to survive. You know, and if I bring this to startup ecosystem, right? Um, the the biggest shift right now in African startup ecosystem is not a future opportunity. It's a current innovation engine. Right now, when there's no white collar job, young men and women are looking into their communities and they are looking for opportunities. If I can't find a white collar job, I'm going to start something. I'm going to solve a problem that my community is facing. So the startups in Africa are not built for convenience at all. They are built out of necessity, out of needs. And the founders are solving problems in different areas in Africa, from finance to health to logistics to energy to edtech, things that people depend on every day. There are so many things that are already established in developed countries that if you look at Africa 10 years ago, we don't have it. But right now, the ecosystem is shifting. You know, what's powerful is that many of these founders are building under constraints, lack of funding, lack of experience, lack of mentorship. And that pressure right now produces incredible, resilience.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be an incredible market opportunity
Yeah.
because, the one thing that we always teach founders is you need to find customers that are experiencing some sort of urgent pain that you can
Yeah.
solve. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with an entire continent that's lacking the same degree of services that
Yeah.
we've all just taken for granted,
Yep.
I feel like the investment opportunity is probably extraordinary
Mhm.
for people that want to do. I mean, not just impact investing, but obviously this type of investing would make an impact. But to invest directly into companies that are really building an entire new market.
Yeah, yeah.
What I mean,
So,
what is there? What are the opportunities for people to engage if they wanted to either help mentor or invest in startups across Africa?
well, the number one is funding, right? If you look at the ecosystem right now, a lot of foreign venture capital, organized founders, investors are looking into Africa as the next destination for, just like you said, there's so much opportunities and they're looking for, every investors want to make money. Now investing in a country where there's so much opportunities and potential. So number one thing is, the next decade belongs to African built solution. And that's just a fact. There are so many solutions in developed countries already. But but there are so many opportunities right now in Africa. We're going to see more African platform, more women-led, a lot of youth-led startups, stronger regional ecosystems, and deeper global partnership. It's already happening, right? Most importantly, the shift is already happening right now. And the biggest need that to improve the startup ecosystem in Africa is funding, right? People that are looking for opportunities to to solve a problem. Let me put it that way. I don't want to use the word to make money, right? To increase their bottom line. Of course, whatever they do will increase their
I always
bottom
refer to
line.
it as create value. So
Yeah. So to create value, right? To solve problems, to create value, you know, people that have people that cares, I will use the word cares, people that have kindness in their heart, you know, come and create value in Africa and you increase you will make more money. That's number one. Number two is infrastructure. The infrastructure is very poor in Africa. So anyone that wants to invest in infrastructure right now in Africa will make a lot of money because you are solving, when you use the word, you are solving a word's hunger problem. Infrastructure is like hunger in Africa. So there's a lot of opportunities for people. You don't need to even invest. You can go into partnership. You don't have the money to invest in Africa, but you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the experience. So become a co-founder with an African founders, so that you can create magic. I will use the word magic. Help to remove the constraints that currently exist in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, in terms of experience, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of funding. The
yeah, well,
opportunity is there.
if it doesn't already exist, and I imagine with
Mm.
everything that you're doing, it does. But hopefully, maybe a byproduct of this is a way for mentors in the U.S. to be able to connect in and potentially help become partners for businesses and investors, and because there's so
Exactly.
many wonderful things happening. Well, before we go, I mean, are there any founders and that you would want to highlight so that people can get a better understanding of the direct businesses that you're supporting?
So for our African girls in tech, the biggest need, sorry, for our incubator program, these young women came up with novel approach. I will use the word novel ideas, you know, um, thinking about, developing, coming up with solutions that will really solve real problems that is affecting millions, tens of millions. When you think of Nigeria alone, Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people. And some of these young women came up with solutions that can solve the problem of 200 million people, not to talk of the entire African ecosystem. So we finished the cohort around August, September, and what we need right now is we want to go into Pitchathon, or we want to go in, yeah, let me call it that way. So in March, we are hoping to um, do something like a Pitchathon where they will have 3 minutes to pitch to investors what their business idea, their business solution is, and not just investors. If you're a mentor and you want to invest your time, you want to invest your intellectual property, let me call it that way, into the African ecosystem, um, that there's an opportunity.
Yeah,
There's an opportunity. Give investing as low as $10,000 makes huge difference
Yeah, I
in
imagine
Africa.
$10,000 goes a lot further there than it does here. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I I rarely talk to people who are impacting as many um, across any region of their country or their world. I mean, everybody's impact is hugely
Or
important, but trying to support that many people, I'm continuously impressed by the work that you and Africa Agility are doing. I know you have an amazing partner network. Um, I'm assuming people can go to the Africa Agility website if they want to learn more and figure out how they can support your work.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So for International Women's Day, actually, we are launching a campaign. I think it's the theme is Give to Gain or something like that. Sorry, I can't remember, but I think it's Give to Gain. We are focusing on the period poverty in Africa. And we want to go to as many schools as possible to distribute reusable sanitary pads so that we can keep these girls in school. We want to reduce suicide. They are young girls with great potential and great opportunity. So we are launching a GoFundMe campaign, crowdfunding campaign to just give as little as $2, $5. With $2, with $10, you can actually keep a girl in school for the entire school year. So if you go on our website, in the next 1 week, it's
Yeah,
going to be there.
that's not much more than getting coffee these days. So awesome.
Exactly.
Well,
That's Starbucks.
yeah. Well, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for taking the time to share that with us today. Wish you the best. I
Thank you.
look forward to partnering with you on the next round for Incubate Her and figuring out how we make all this happen, and hopefully we turn. I think it was 25 founders last time. Maybe we can do 250, and let's see what it takes to make something like that happen.